This is a peaceful, respectful assembly.
And by the way, before I leave, the anthrax that was sent through the mail, remember when the anthrax was sent, they thought that it was maybe Al-Qaeda or Saddam Hussein? By the way, that came from our own country also. And this is not a conspiracy theory, this is a fact. Every major paper, even the History Channels cover this. Somebody within our own government had to send the anthrax to scare everybody so that we would pass the Patriot Act, so that we would think Saddam Hussein had chemical weapons. It's a big lie, so wake up. Thank you very much.
I think a new world order is emerging.
The number of homeless has doubled. They're now arresting homeless, making them live in shelters, charging them rent, saying they've got to work to pay that rent. We're talking about slave labor and the poorhouse, the debtor's prison being reinstituted here. And as the economy continues to be imploded by design, we have the IMF, World Bank, Bilderberg Group documents. They are engineering this by design, Joyce. A lot of arrogant people out there that don't care about this lady need to understand they're next.
If you really want to know the truth about the state of Iraq's weapons of mass destruction before the invasion, listen to Colin Powell in February 2001. He states clearly that there was no threat from Saddam Hussein.
He has not developed any significant capability with respect to weapons of mass destruction. He is unable to project conventional power against his neighbors.
Rockefeller, the senator, who normally doesn't go out during the daytime, he's afraid of his own shadow.
And Mrs. Condoleezza Rice, Bush's national security advisor, in July of the same year, saying the same thing, putting the lie to their own propaganda.
We are able to keep on propaganda. The military forces have not been rebuilt or refreshed.
And that many believe was the truth. A truth that was covered up and conveniently forgotten after September the 11th, when Bush and Blair decided to attack Iraq. They found no weapons of mass destruction, no links with Al-Qaeda, no nuclear weapons, no 45-minute threat.
And he was head of the supposed to be the Oversight Committee, you know, in Congress. They've been renamed the Overlook Committee.
And I have been electrified by Glenn Beck. You see, I watch Glenn's show, the TV balanced on the edge of my tub. And after the short-term memory loss and the seizures subside, he makes a lot of sense. Truth is,
you will always have a special place in my heart and in the New World Order.
I think the new world order is emerging.
Ready! I'm getting presents in the New World Order!
Why do you think George Bush worships Lucifer? What gives you that idea?
He's a third-generation Skull and Bones member, okay?
Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, the chances are someone is watching you. CCTV cameras at road junctions, on houses, on office buildings.
Police began to violently and brutally attack people that were observing outside, alleging that they were people trying to escape from inside the occupation.
Video shot at the scene by Brandon Jordan shows police firing pepper spray into a new school building and police officers knocking students to the ground on the sidewalk. The New York Police Department originally denied any pepper spray was used, but reversed their claim after Jordan's video was posted online.
They're shutting down. Google Videos announced they're totally shutting down. YouTube is going from a user format to a format that is corporate, and this is all being announced. And I keep telling people, and they go, oh, they're not getting rid of Google Video. They're not going to start restricting YouTube. Yeah, they are.
They realize that people actually don't like having their texts, their phone calls, their emails, and their day-to-day existence spied on. As you actually pointed up in your clip, many of these things just don't work. I mean, the simple truth is we've got more CCTV cameras than almost any other country in the world, and yet fewer convictions from CCTV.
I mean, we knew they were going to set this up, but to have them coming right out and going, yeah, we're going to take your free speech and take your guns, I mean, without a judge or jury. And then now in England, report your neighbor if they smoke cigars or wear a suit and tie. It says they shouldn't have that much money in this recession. getting money from the government to start spying on your neighbor.
We all know the Great Depression was bad. You're saying this is going to be worse.
Much more violent.
Violent. So
Much more
street crime?
Street crime.
Civil unrest?
Civil unrest. My saying is, when people lose everything, and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it.
I mean, I kid you not. When Vice President Cheney briefed Jay Rockefeller and others about the illegal wiretapping, anybody remember what Jay Rockefeller bragged about doing? Well, he wasn't going to take this sitting down. He went back to his desk, and since it was so sensitive, he couldn't have any secretary type it out. But he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to Dick Cheney saying, I don't know about this. I have some concerns about this. Signed it Jay Rockefeller, kept a copy in his safe, and sent that courageous letter to the vice president. He never got an answer, but it came up again when Dick Cheney was doing one of his exit interviews, and he says, you know, I just got a call from Jay Rockefeller. Senator Rockefeller asked me if I could give him a copy of that letter he sent because he misplaced his copy. You know? Hello?
In 2005, Time magazine later reported the FBI began investigating California Congresswoman Jane Harman. The cause? Suspicion that Harman had agreed to use her influence to get the Justice Department to back off two former Israeli lobbyists facing espionage-related charges.
Well, anyhow, Rockefeller stepped out of character for once, and this is what he said about the Senate report on whether the administration distorted the intelligence. I quote. Actually, I'll start the quote in the beginning. Quote, in making the case for war, the administration repeatedly presented intelligence as fact, when in reality, it was unsubstantiated, contradicted, or even non-existent. Hello? Non-existent intelligence? What would that be? Oh, maybe forgery? Maybe forgery? Who did the forgery? You know what? The FBI was never allowed to investigate that. But I'll bet you that the trail leads right under the Vice President's door. I'm not saying that he and Lynn Cheney sat down one night and forged these documents about yellow cake in Niger, but I think they had something to do with it.
Big hole in the Pentagon.
It's because in my mind, I think of you as a goon.
That has something to do with an 18-month blockade of Gaza that was starving 1.5 million people.
You're putting. No, that's nonsense.
Okay, Joshua, let me put some of what you said.
There was no blockade. There was no blockade. There was no blockade.
So it is a fact that there was an 18-month blockade of Gaza that prevented food, fuel, and essential supplies from accessing territory. Okay, but right. Well, let me allow one of our other guests to respond to what you're saying. Jeremy Corbyn, your response.
Yeah, Joshua. Sorry, there was a blockade of Gaza from the sea, from the land, and from the air. There was a denial of the right of people of Gaza to travel outside of the Gaza Strip. There was a denial of the right of Gaza to export its products from any industries that exist in Gaza, hence the economic collapse that's going on. There was also an active policy of preventing sufficient levels of food, medicine, energy and other supplies getting into Gaza. Hence we have a humanitarian crisis, hence we have massive levels of unemployment, hence we have an awful lot of very angry people. You cannot imprison 1.5 million people and not expect them to get very angry about it. That's exactly what Israel did. That is why the ceasefire broke down.
And the media just goes, so what? Because the old media has to kill us. They can't put up with a level playing field because we're telling the truth and they're not.